Welcome back to integers, my second installment. Previously, I talked about integers, adding and subtracting them. Now I'm going to use this on a number line. Now, with me, I'm perfectly fine showing a number line on any problem dealing with integers because I'm a visual learner just like some of you. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this 4. Here's my 4 plus 2. Now, most of us know here, this is 6, but this is why it's 6, 2 on the number line. 4, that means I'm going plus 2 or I'm going to the positive end of the number line, 2 different spots. So I start at 4, so 1, 2. So when I count that, it goes to my number 6. So 4 plus 2 is 6. Now let's take a look at 4 plus a negative 2. So here it is. I'm going to start at 4. And when I add a negative 2, that means I'm going back 2. Or I'm going to the negative end. So that means I'm going to go 1, 2. So my answer is 2. So treat this as, think about this, 4 plus a negative 2. So if you have $4 and then you spend $2, you have 2. That's one way we can look at this. Let's take a look at 3 plus a negative 4. Here's my 3, which is right here. This 4 is negative, so that means I'm going back to the negative end of it. So I'm going to go back 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you want to count those spots, that is 2, 1, 0, negative 1. So that's what my answer would be, negative 1. Now, you could also choose this as well. I can make this a negative 4, so I'm starting at my negative 4, and that means I'm going 3 spots. So that means I can go negative 4, then negative 3, negative 2, negative 1. Now take a look at my answer. This corresponds with this way. So either one way is correct. I mean, looking back at this, the previous one on number 2, I mean, I could start at, if you want to look at it this way, now I could put another number line and I can say, okay, here's negative 2. So I need to count 4 spots because it's going positive. 1, 2, 3, 4. So when I count those, negative 1, 0, 1, and finally 2, look, it matches with my first original way. So it doesn't matter which way you look at it. I always try to look at the positive first and then go backwards. That's just me. Now look at 5. Now when you have 5, treat this as a 5 and then a negative 2. So that means I'm going back 2. And that's where 3 comes into play. Three minus 5. 3. I'm going to go back 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that it would be 2, 1, 0, negative 1, negative 2. So in this case, negative 2 is my answer. But like I said before, you could always start at this negative 5, and that 3 is positive, so I'm going to the positive end, so I can say 1, 2, 3. So when you do this way, you could say negative 4, negative 3, negative 2. That's the same that I did with my first approach. Now what about when you have 2 negatives? Well, remember, 2 negatives do not make a positive, so that means I'm going to start at negative 2. I'm going back 3, so I'm going to the negative end, so I'm going back 3. 1, 2, 3. So that's negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. So my answer is a negative 5. Now this is one that typically when we see this, we think we can cancel out it's going to be 0. Well, this is not the case in this example. Think about this. You start at negative 4 right here. This right here means you're adding another negative 4, so it means I'm going to the negative end. Negative 5, negative 6, negative 7, negative 8. That is my answer, negative 8. Negative 2 minus 3. Now just remember, on any time of any part of this video, you can always pause it, try to work this yourself, go back and do the same thing. And review this as many times as it takes. Now, negative 2, that means I'm going back to the negative side 3 points. So that's negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. Negative 5 is my answer. Same thing with here. I've got a negative 5, negative 5, and a negative 7. So that's negative 7 minus 5. So I'm going back negative. So I'm going back negative 8, negative 9, negative 10, negative 11, negative 12. So negative 12 is my answer. And you can also think about, like in my first set of videos, I put this as a negative, thinking of you're owing me. So if you owe me 7 and owe me 5, you would owe me $12. Now finally, I've got my positive 8. That means I'm going back 8. So I'm going back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it'd be 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So in this case, 0 would be my answer. So as we're looking at integers, I would look at both of the videos that I've created and see which one it is that you like. Are you a visual person? If so, use a number line. I always like using money. So remember, positive means you have the money. Negative means you owe the money. Thank you for listening.